Good morning and welcome to Facebook Live. I'm Alison Carr with the Community Health team, and I've got a special guest with me today. We've got Alison Carr from the Boomerang project, and Alison's come along today to tell us about all the work that the Boomerang are doing. So without further ado, we're just going to get right into the questions today. So welcome, Alison.
Morning, Alison.
Thanks for coming along. Alison, can you tell me, first of all, where is the Boomerang?
The Boomerang's based down at 10 Kenbach Street.
Okay, so you're based sort of in the Maryfield ward?
Maryfield area.
Yeah. And can you tell me what your job is? What is it you do on a day-to-day basis at the Boomerang?
My title is a support worker, but obviously during the pandemic we've just been doing all variety of things. And at the moment I'm helping, with the delivery of the meals to the vulnerable people out there that are needing our assistance.
Okay, so the Boomerang project, I've known the Boomerang project for a lot of years. I've had lots of dealings and contact with the Boomerang, but can you think about pre-COVID, pre-lockdown days? What kind of things were you doing at the Boomerang for the community?
Yeah, Boomerang was absolutely thriving before the pandemic, and 750 people weekly came along to the Boomerang. We ran toddler groups, we ran a lunch club, we ran activities, we had mental health groups coming in. It was absolutely thriving before the pandemic.
So it sounds like it was a really busy place and lots of different things for people to get involved in. Now, given since March we've been living in a very restricted way, so obviously the Boomerangs had to change and adapt and work in a different way. So are you able to tell us what you've managed to do to try and still provide all these services to people?
Yeah, well, we're all a bit shocked when Boris closed down the country on the 23rd of March, and basically the centre closed. But Neil Ellis, who is the manager of Boomerang, along with Lynn, who have been there for Neil's been there 30 years, Lynn's been there about 25 years. Centre was only closed for a couple of days, and Neil, always thinking, opened up the centre, and the Stobie Community Larder was formed.
Can you tell me a bit about the larder? What is the larder then, for anybody watching that might be interested in finding out a bit more about it?
Yeah, well, obviously at the start of the pandemic there was a lot of people who were maybe hairdressers, there were taxi drivers, there were self-employed, and they've seen their financial circumstances just completely fall. So we had a lot of families attending, certainly at the very start of the pandemic, where they would come along, they would get a grocery bag to take away, they would get bread, they would get milk, and it was really helpful to them.
Right, so that was a way in which you tried to help people out, and you're talking about people who had employment and found themselves
on furlough.
Yeah, furloughed and losing their jobs, etc. So I remember before the lockdown came along, that there was a lunch club going on at the Boomerang, and I know because we had short health walks operating throughout Baxter Park, and a lot of people there would say, oh, it's great, today we're going away to the Boomerang for lunch, and they would get a really good lunch and they would meet friends. So what's happening now that there's no lunch club? What's been put into place now?
Yeah, well, like you say, Alison, the lunch club was the heart of Boomerang. And we would have maybe 30, 40 people coming along on a daily basis, where 2-3 course lunch Monday to Friday. But it wasn't just all about just getting a nutritious lunch, it was about socialising. We put on parties, we all celebrated Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's, so obviously that's all stopped now. So now what we're doing is doing a meal delivery service to the over 65s, and some of the people who attended the lunch club before the pandemic, we deliver the meals to them, so they're still getting a healthy, nutritious lunch, Monday to Friday.
That's really good. So you're now doing a takeaway service.
Service.
Yeah. So you're changing and adapting all the time to whatever you're getting hit with. Sorry, were you going to say
Yeah,
something?
we also joined forces with the Caledonia Housing Association, and we delivered afternoon teas to people in the sheltered housing complex, and that was an absolutely fantastic project. Lynn and at Boomerang would make up sandwiches, a scone, a muffin, jam, little teas and coffees, and they were put into little bags, and we would deliver them to the sheltered housing complexes. And to see the delight on the residents' face when we appeared with these little bags, it was like some of them, it looked like they'd won the lottery. And one man specifically is in my mind. He was sitting in his garden just reading his newspaper. It was a sunny day, and we appeared with the afternoon tea, and the smile on his face was just amazing. And we got a message, Neil got a message from his daughter the next day saying that our dad had phoned all excited, saying, "Oh, this Boomerang brought me up afternoon tea," and he says, and he FaceTimed his daughter, was showing, what he'd received, and she was just delighted because it made his day.
Yeah, and that's a great way to keep connected. And I think I spoke to you about the deliveries you were doing, and I think you said you'd managed to even source some people's friends.
Yes, yeah, DC Thompson's came on board, and we were given 200 people's friends. So we just put the people's friends in with the afternoon tea bags, and so they were delighted, absolutely delighted, because I think everybody likes the people's friend.
Definitely. So it's not just a bag of food that you're handing over, which sounds wonderful enough, but you could just see people sitting with all the goodies that you've delivered and being able to relax with the magazine as well.
Yeah,
So lots of different links going on there. Alison, you've spoken a lot about delivering maybe to the over 65s, etc. But what about youngsters? Do you do any work with children? Have you managed to do anything during this pandemic?
Yeah, well, over the last 3 years we've had strong links with the Dundee Bairns project. And pre-COVID we ran the holiday hunger activities at Boomerang. Obviously the pandemic came along and that all stopped. But over the school summer holidays, and you'll see this is very much spoken about in the news at the moment. I think the footballer, is it Rashford, fought for free school meals in England, and so holiday hunger is spoken about, quite a lot at the moment. So we joined forces again in the summer with the Dundee Bairns project, and they delivered the sandwiches to Boomerang, and the staff and volunteers gave out the sandwiches to the families who came into Boomerang. And we also with the packed lunches, we gave the kids activity packs, so that was quite good for the kids and good for the parents as well, because it gave the children something to do while they were off school.
And it sounds like you're reaching out from probably birth right through to, I don't know how old your oldest participant is.
I don't know if we've got anybody over 100, but certainly we cater from birth right up to
maybe 100.
Maybe up 100,
You never know. Is Neil not about that age now? Because he's been around that long?
A couple of years
to go before Neil reaches his century. Because you said earlier about all the participants that you had, at the Boomerang, and it sounded like, there were so many people going there, it must be really difficult to try and keep connected with them all now. So is there anything that you've been doing over the past months that you've managed to keep connected that's been quite successful?
Yeah, lots.
Right, let's hear it then.
Lots. Neil and Lynn started afternoon teas in the summer. Well, everybody likes an afternoon tea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but Neil had to think, now how can we do this, in a safe way. So we went through all the normal procedures, one-way systems, risk assessments. So we managed to get the afternoon teas up and running in the summer, and we purchased a marquee where the people who attended the lunch club before the pandemic, it was a book-in essential programme. So they would book and come along and sit and have afternoon tea in the Boomerang Garden, and it was lovely. It was in a marquee, and like I say, afternoon tea, they paid £5 and they got their sandwiches, their muffin, their scone, their fruit, unlimited tea and coffee. And again, it was just great to see them being able to meet up with their friends again, you know, that they hadn't seen for weeks.
So very much a social occasion as well. So it's addressing social isolation.
Yeah.
And I can imagine if we were to go and view what was happening when the marquee was up and you're doing your afternoon teas, we probably wouldn't be able to hear ourselves speak because everybody would have been so excited to see one another.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a really good thing to do, you know, getting people out and about.
So obviously it got a bit colder, so we had to rethink on what we could do. So now there's limited spaces now, obviously because of the restrictions, but they're actually being held indoors at the moment, Monday to Thursday from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock at Boomerang. It's £5 though. Can't get anything for £5 these days.
No, so it's unlimited tea and coffee and scones and everything. So that's great because everybody loves getting fed, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
So that's
like
marvellous.
Coffee.
Alison, like most voluntary projects, the subject of money comes up time and time again, and how do you manage to keep going? So what do you as an organisation do to keep the funds coming in, and especially when there's not a lot of money going about just now? Can you think of anything you've done to raise funds?
Neil and myself have applied to various organisations. You know, they had COVID-19, you know, emergency grants going out for projects that were, you know, still helping vulnerable people. So between grants and fundraising, you know, we've managed to keep things going.
And I'm going back just a little bit about keeping connected with your participants out there. I'd heard, and I think I've seen adverts on Facebook about a bingo that you run, and I kind of thought, how on earth can you do bingo remotely? So if you're able to tell us about that, that would be wonderful.
It was actually Lindsay Eppie who attends the Boomerang. She had done the online bingo with the church and it ended. So she suggested to me, Alison, would you mind taking on an online bingo? And I thought, how is that going to work, you know, because I'm not that technical myself, you know. So we got up and running, we call it the Boomerang Bingo, and it's held every Thursday night by Zoom at 7:30. So I send everyone a code every Thursday with the ID and password. So I would say there's sometimes between 15 and 20 participants Zoom in on a Thursday night, and it's a prize bingo. So this is a little play. Anybody got any prizes they can donate?
Get out there, Alison, tell them.
And it's been really, really successful. We ran it for 10 weeks just to see how things were going, and everyone was really enjoying it. And seeing people in their 70s, 80s, you know, being able to actually get into a computer and get on Zoom and interact with their friends online, you know, it must have been so strange for them at first because, you know, they've not been brought up in a world of technology like that. But they'll have such fun. We tune in about 7:15 and everybody has a little chat, and then I shout the bingo every 2 weeks, and then Paul Duncan, he's a guy who just got involved with Boomerang through the larder, and he's a professional bingo caller, and he shouts some weeks as well, and everybody's became friends, you know, just through the Zoom bingo. It's been great. So they actually pay £5 to play, and all the money goes to Boomerang for the fundraising.
You've got a professional bingo caller. Now, how many organisations out there can say they've actually got a... So, I take my hat off to you, you're really doing...
He's a lot better than me.
Oh, I'm sure you're just as good, Alison. You were saying there's some people maybe going on Zoom for the first time, and you're saying they've maybe never used technology before, but they're managing to access it now. How did they manage to do that? What were you able to put in place so as people can get onto the bingo sessions?
Yeah, well, it was obviously quite difficult, but some of the, when I say younger service users at Boomerang would go and help the elderly person, you know, set up and show them what to do.
So that's great. That's a great example of intergenerational work. So you've got people who are very tech savvy, shall we say, going in and showing someone how to use the equipment. So can they do it on their own now?
Yes, they can. Yeah, I've also, when you talk about, you know, the younger people, you know, socialising with the elderly, my daughter helps my neighbour. She plays online bingo on a Thursday night. She unfortunately lost her husband very, very suddenly just before COVID, and she loves the bingo on a Thursday night. So if she's got any technical issues, she'll give me a message, and Heather or Isla will run over and sort it out.
So it sounds like that it's not a 9-to-5 job you've got, because you're working at night and you're running these bingo sessions.
It's not. I don't class that as work. It's just fun, isn't it?
So it's a bit of fun then. So you're enjoying, you know, doing that,
yeah.
and it's really good because it's not just bingo, is it? It's more than that. You're actually getting people connected and talking.
Connected again, and being able to, like I say, see the people that they saw 5 days a week, you know, before the pandemic, you know, it's great. It's great. They all love it.
That's wonderful. Now, we spoke a bit about raising funds, etc. Now, Little Birdie's told me that somebody in the Boomerang project did something for October to raise funds. And I think that person was you, Alison. So could you tell our viewers out there what you did in October to raise much needed funds for the Boomerang?
Well, I think all my family and friends will know I like to partake. I think you know Alison as well. And a little wine occasionally. But probably one of my biggest challenges I've done, and I've done a few challenges, as you know, I decided to do Sober October. I was away with one of my friends for a weekend, and we were talking about Sober October, and she gave me a very good proposition to do it. So I said, give me 24 hours, you know, think about it, you know. And I thought, will I not? And I thought, yeah, I will. And I managed. I think 5 weekends without no alcohol.
Well, that's good, and we'll just get the message out there about the alcohol units if anyone is drinking. Remember, your units are 14 units per week, so that's the level for it. But when you did that, Alison, was it easier than you thought, or did
a
you
lot
find
easier, and it's made me think of alcohol in a different way. So it's been beneficial for me as well. It's great, and as well as so far, once all my money's in, Boomerang will be receiving over £700.
Well, that's amazing. So you managed to get so many sponsors, and you've raised 700.
Yeah.
And do you feel healthier in any way?
Lots more healthier. Yeah.
So, in what way are you feeling healthier? What do you think it's done for you, Alison?
Just feel not so tired, and just have lots more energy.
So you've got more energy, and and you're saying that you might be able to carry it through again. You know, like you'll maybe reduce your alcohol intake.
Definitely.
Well, that's a good message, and you know, doing this in October, you know, it gave you the motivation to try and raise funds for it. I think when we talk about the Boomerang as well, Neil's done lots of different things at the Boomerang. He doesn't seem to me like someone who's in charge of the Boomerang and doesn't do anything else, but he seems to get right down in there and do lots of different things and always thinking about new things to do.
He's always thinking ahead.
Yeah.
I've known Neil for myself 25 years, and he's always 2 steps ahead of everyone.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. You said about the bingo as well, so what we'll maybe do is put a wee play out there. Do you want to ask the viewers for anything for your bingo?
Okay, anyone got any unwanted gifts lying around? It could be smellies, anything at all. I'm at Boomerang Monday to Friday from 9:30 until about 3 o'clock. So if anybody would like to hand anything in towards our Boomerang bingo, it'd be much appreciated.
And it's all going to a very, very worthwhile cause. Can people phone the Boomerang to get some information from you? Do you
If
know
anybody wants to participate in the bingo, just phone Boomerang on 455 656 and I can help get them set up to play bingo and get books and that delivered to them.
It sounds, it's great that people are getting prizes, but it's just striking me just now, how on earth do you get the prizes out to people? If someone's won, what do you do to get this prize out to them?
Well, every Wednesday I go to my mum's, thank you mum, and we sort out all the prizes and we sort out all of the games, and Kelly at Boomerang comes to my mum on a Friday and collects all the gifts and she delivers them all.
So you've got a well-oiled system going on there, so from donations to actually doing the bingo, and you've got someone that'll go out and deliver everything. It sounds like it's all ticking over really, really well.
And it's also good for my mum as well, because it's keeping her busy as well, because she's always helped me with my fundraising.
And that's wonderful, because I think when you're talking there, you've got lots of contact with lots of volunteers, and we had Anne Leslie in a number of weeks ago, and she was talking about volunteering opportunities. Is there opportunities at Boomerang to volunteer, or is that on hold just now?
It is on hold at present.
Okay.
All the different kind of restrictions and that coming in, you know.
But you do have quite a few volunteers that help out within the project.
Oh yes, pre-COVID we would have about 40 volunteers.
My goodness, that's a lot, 40. And probably like ourselves at the community health team, we used volunteers quite a lot with short health walks and doing other things within the project. They're kind of a lifeline for projects, aren't they? Especially in the voluntary sector.
They definitely are. We also had volunteers with additional support needs who would come and help at Boomerang, and they would come along with their support worker, and it made them feel part of the Boomerang team, and it made them make new friends, and it really built up their confidence, you know, being in the community helping.
Yeah, and I think you could start off volunteering, that can lead into so many other things.
Exactly.
I meant to ask you as well, Alison, you did an art project with DCA.
Yes,
I should have asked that earlier.
It was called the Say Hello with Art project, and it was with the Dundee Pensioners Forum, and it was to spread some cheer to the older people in Dundee. So activity packs, art packs were given out to the children, and they done all their artwork, and the elderly would display it in their windows. So that was very good.
So that's another example of intergenerational work where you've had young persons, or how old were the children?
Any age.
Any age, so it was children of any age doing some artwork and giving it to the elderly, and they were displaying it, maybe like you would display a rainbow.
Yeah, like the rainbow.
The rainbow thing. So again,
so it was fantastic. Yeah.
Well, lots and lots of good work going on at the Boomerang. Is there anything else you want to tell us about the Boomerang? About your way forward?
Well, the way forward is just hoping to get out of this situation and get everything, you know, up and running again, because like I say, 750 people on a daily basis, and our over fitness classes, you know, the lunch clubs, the toddlers, you know, it was bustling, absolutely bustling, and we just want it back that way again.
And that's a good word to use, bustling and getting people, you know, doing things and that. But we're in strange times, but it's good to see that in the face of adversity, people are really going that extra mile to try and connect with communities and make sure people are connected, and, you know, getting, you know, as much care as we can give them. So if there's nothing else, Alison, I'll maybe just round up. Is that enough?
That's fine.
Well, I'd just like to thank you so much for coming along today, Alison, and telling us all about the Boomerang project and everything that's going on there. Alison mentioned earlier about if you want to get in touch or make any donations, please do. She might give you the phone number again.
It's 455 656.
There you go. And I just want to say one thing. I got a comment last week. Someone had messaged me to say that I didn't mention my favourite subject. So for all you out there, here I am again with my bottle of water, 4 of these a day, and that's your 2 litres a day of water. Alison, do you agree with that?
Very much so.
Yes. So there you go. Try and keep hydrated, everyone. But last word to you, Alison. Do you want to say anything?
No, fine.
That's it. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm not sure who we've got next week, but I think we've got another guest next week coming along. But Robin, our trusty cameraman there, will keep you posted by putting it on Facebook. So without further ado, have a great day everyone, and we'll see you next week.